Sometimes the simplest gestures can have the most profound impact. Welcome to Walking Through the Word for today, and we're in John chapter 21. And Jesus has appeared once again to at least some of the apostles. Jesus, remember, was had just called into John, Thomas, the sons of Zebedee, and two of the other disciples who were fishing on the boat, and they had just cast their nets on the other side. And then Peter said, "It's the Lord," and he jumped in and he swam in. Well, in verse 8 of chapter 21, the other disciples followed in the boat, so Simon Peter left him behind in this enthusiasm, which is so typical Simon. I mean, Simon's a little bit of an impulsive guy, right? The other disciples followed in the boat, towing the net full of fish, for they were not far from shore, about 100 yards. When they landed, they saw a fire burning coals there with fish on it and some bread. So Jesus had already decided to spend time with them and comfort them. And this is actually a very powerful scene even before we get to the moment of Jesus reinstating Peter. Jesus said to them, "Bring some of the fish you have just caught." So he adds to the pile of fish. So Simon Peter climbed back into the boat and dragged the net ashore. It was full of large fish, 153, but even with so many, the net was not torn. John, being a fisherman, is noting that this is a ton of fish, and yet somehow miraculously the nets didn't bust, which is what would happen if you caught too many fish. Jesus said to them, "Come and have breakfast." None of the disciples dared ask him, "Who are you?" because they knew it was the Lord. Jesus came, took the bread, and gave it to them, and did the same with the fish. Now, this was the third time Jesus appeared to his disciples after he was raised from the dead. So, there's a few things in this that I really want to point out because this is a very intimate scene. All of the other scenes have been very sudden, very surprising, and very abrupt ending. Apparently, we don't really know what Jesus did. He just kind of appeared and then apparently disappeared, and we don't really know anything. But it wasn't time. It was just, "Hey, I'm here." And so we see Jesus take time to sit and to eat with the disciples. Now, one of the reasons that Jesus does this is because of the disciples daring asking, "Who are you?" They were worried. I mean, remember, this is a superstitious group. The peoples of this day were very superstitious, and so they're thinking, is this a ghost? Is this a spirit? What is this? We don't even know. But when they see Jesus sitting down and breaking bread and serving the fish, they know that Jesus is alive. He's back. What was sudden before with the appearances of Jesus over the course of that first week, now Jesus slows down and he sits down with them and he allows them to really process and he spends time with them. Now we don't know fully of what was going on here. I imagine there was some awkward silence, especially from Simon Peter, as we'll see next time. But what we have here is the disciples getting to truly take in and see that it is Jesus. And he does the most basic and valuable of things, and that is he sits with them. See, sometimes this is what God does with us. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what's going on. We went off to our thinking spot. We're trying to process, and Jesus meets us there. He sits with us. He lets us think. He offers encouragement. He offers nourishment. Jesus feeds these men because he knows that they're tired and they're wiped out. And so, just like always, Jesus meets their basic needs first. And this is what he does for us. They provide our basic needs so that we can then truly understand, know who Jesus is. This is a simple scene that we see, and yet it is so powerful and so profound for these disciples. It must have been for John. John takes time to visit about this himself and says, this right here, this was special. Now, obviously, we know it's going to be very special for Simon Peter, but for John, this is obviously a very special time for him as well because he gets to sit and eat with Jesus. And as we know, this is the last time that John writes about spending time with Jesus. And as we talked about before, this is the argument that John will use when Gnosticism runs rampant. No. Not only have I seen Jesus and touched Jesus, I have eaten and dined with Jesus. He is not just spirit. He is exactly who he was before. He is fully man and fully God. Such a simple scene, such a profound impact.